Namaskar. So this presentation is all about evidence-based strategy for mitigating lightning fatality in India. Let's understand what is lightning. So what really you perceive when you see a lightning? First thing, you see a flash, which is a form of light. Second, after few seconds, so you will perceive sound. Third thing, which you should perceive in era of climate change, that it's a huge amount of electric shock. On an average is 3000 lakh volt of electric current which is coming from the cloud to the ground, and if you are close to these tracking points, so you will be killed. If you see the slide, you can see almost from 1967 till 2022 what data says, like almost more than 1 lakh people have died in India, and on an average it was 1800 something average death was happening, but in the last 2 decades it has rise to 2800 to 3500. If you compare with the countries like USA, where the death is only 20 per year, and if you compare with Europe 80 or China 300, but if you see like my district where my university is present, Baleshwar, the death is 20 to 25. So why there is so much of difference? And if you see means what our lab has done, we analyzed the lightning flash data from TRMM LIS and ISS LIS. We found that there are 4 clusters of lightning, but every lightning flash which you see in the sky is not translated into death. So there are many resistance or natural resistance where you can find the relation between lightning activity and death is very moderate. So there where so we have a chance of adaptation. And the other thing, if you see, we are talking about climate change, and we are talking about the change in temperature or the change in maximum temperature of 1 degree. So the atmosphere moisture holding capacity will increase from 17 to 14%. Obviously there will be more lightning activity in coming days, and if you see, there is a paper in Orissa which we have seen that almost 71% death in climate induced natural disaster is related to lightning, and 21% death is heat wave. But if you see why there is more death, the reason may be in case of lightning, the documentation and recording is more accurate because compensation is given. So that is why we can say, so climate change is a reality and it's going to intensify the lightning activity in coming days. So when we talk about reducing the fatality or saving lives, the bigger question we used to ask ourselves, whatever death has happened in the past, are they avoidable? If you ask me, the research we have started in 2022 till 2026, I will say yes. Why yes? Let's take few case studies. First case study, when I started my research 2022 at Berhampur University, 2 students were killed after the end semester exam. Try to understand the 3 things when we talk about disaster is called as place, time and action. If you are not in a vulnerable place, so you are completely safe. Any kind of disaster. In case of lightning, same thing happens. But thing is, let's try to understand the case studies. So there were 2 students, PG students, finished their end semester at 4 o'clock, and they went to the Gopalpur coast, which is close, means in the south part of Odisha or eastern part of India. They went there, they were sitting, a boy and girl. So suddenly the weather changed, and a high intensity lightning activity happened, and the boy was killed and the girl was severely injured. But the distance was very, not much, only maybe 5 meters or something. Second case study is in month of May, where a farmer family who are giving water at 4 o'clock. So it was like two father and mother and a young guy. So what happened? There was a lightning activity started. Then the boy was struck and the father and mother were seeing maybe only 10-meter difference, was killed at that point. Then third is the case in Manoranjan, a family in month of June. So they were at 2 o'clock inside the agricultural field, father, mother and two kids. So rainfall started, then the lightning started. What happened? They decide to go back home. Suddenly the two kids starts running and the mother started running behind him and father left behind. So what happened? The lightning strike the father. So the distance may be 50 meters. Death happened. So I just want to ask a question, whoever is listening this video, that what are the ways if I go back 1 hour before or 3 hours before or 6 hours before, what information can be given to this family so that we can save their life. Let us understand what is actually is lightning. So lightning, as I said, is a huge amount of electric shock which is coming from the cloud to the ground. But if you try to understand, so the recipe for initiation of lightning activity is temperature and moisture. So then when it goes up at certain height, so black cloud will be formed, which will be updrafting and downdrafting. The reason is whenever these moisture laden air parcel moves up, so different varieties of ice particles will be formed. Ice particle, graupels, snowflakes. So they start colliding against each other. Positive particle moves up, negative particle moves down. That's called as electron. When it moves down, so any thing on the surface of Earth will be induced as positive charge. Then the property of the negative charge is to connect with a positive charge, and a conductive surface is created where huge amount of electric shock will come down and it has to be discharged. So whenever it comes to the surface of the earth, so there is a resistance. It will not allow this huge current to discharge. Then what will happen? It will flow laterally in different equipotential zone, and whoever is standing, that may be a human being or animals or anything, so the current will enter your body and it will stop the pumping of blood of your heart, which is running with 1 ampere of electric current. Then such death happens. Then let's try to understand the process of lightning. Like as I said, inside the cloud, when it converts into black cloud means, so it is positive and negative charges formed. Then it is drafting up and down. Okay, the black cloud, that is cumulonimbus cloud. Then first is the charge separation. Second is potential difference. As these charges separated, so there is a potential difference. So it doesn't happen only, it can happen inside the cloud. Also, there may be potential difference between one cloud and other cloud. So that is the reason why the lightning is classified into two first. One is called as CC, cloud to cloud, another is called as cloud to ground. Whenever we say CC, the potential difference is between two different clouds. So what will happen? So they will try to connect. Whenever you see a zigzag flash or conductivity, it happens in the sky. And whenever you see it is coming down, it is CG, that is, one line, flash line is coming to the ground. It is a straight, sometimes straight kind of things. So it is called CG. Then CC is intra-cloud. Inside the cloud happen, one cloud other, inter-cloud. Or CG is positive CG and negative CG. What exactly has happened then? When this charged particle or the electron is coming down, let's say the negative charge or the electron which is coming downward, then what will happen, it will try to move a positive charge which is moving upward. The downward you can see in the slide, so that is called as a stepped leader. Then another one which is coming up is called streamer. When they connect, so you will see a flash, a line of flash activity which you can see in the some flashes which happened in a mountain in Karnataka. You can see both the things, CC and CG. And so what will happen at that particular movement, so these charge connect a conductive path is created through which a large amount of electric shock, as I said, rapidly flow upward and downward. This is the current what we see as a bright flash of lightning. Again, what will happen? Next thing, so this current will try to be discharged. When it is a CG, it comes to the ground. Okay. So when it comes to the ground, so what will happen? So as the top layer will resist it, so then it will move laterally. So you can understand, so when these current move laterally, or it means the lightning strike vertically or laterally. So when any human beings, animals which is close to there, then a huge amount of electric shock will either enter through your head or through your leg, and it will try to stop the pumping of your blood of your heart, then sudden heart attack and death. As I said, how powerful is lightning? You should perceive that, you should understand that a typical, as I said, a lightning activity is all around 3000 lakh volts of electric current or 30,000 amperes. You can compare with the electric bulb, you can see almost 7 lakh bulbs can be lightened, or you can see iron which you are doing, then lightning versus iron, it have around 7,000. You can just see this is a huge amount of electric shock. Let us try to understand, means from the understanding the death which is happening on the ground, and so where are the locations, so which is very highly risk, where anybody is in that point, death will happen. As I said, 85% of the lightning activities are CC, so it is not dangerous. Only 15% which comes to the ground either in a positive CG or a negative CG are dangerous. Third thing is, so we cannot differentiate, or there is no sequence or pattern of which is a CC or which is a CG. Whenever any forecasting done, it done overally for CC and CG. So the first one, what we classified as a direct strike. So direct strike means it will enter your hand, single point entry and multiple exit. So what will happen? So 98% if it is a direct strike, so there is no chance of revival. And again the percentage of death is very less, 2%, because as human height is very less, so there is a less chance of direct strike, and that is possible when you become the highest point, then it connect, or you are very close to the electropotential difference, then it can connect to your head. So that is why these kind of death is very less. So we should keep away from the highest points in the top of the building, top of the mountains or top of the tree. So we have to keep away from these things. Second kind of death which we see in the pre-monsoon, in the nor'wester time in central India, that is called a side flash or side splash. So basically when we see our data, 96% death happens in rural area, means only 4% death happens in urban area. These 96% deaths, if you see in the pre-monsoon month of March, April, May, so basically what happens, the trees are the highest points. So when this negative CG is coming downward, so it will try that the tree become a positive charge, and the upward movement from the tree started. When these two positive negative CG connected, so there is a the tree become a conductive surface, and a huge amount of electric current comes to the ground. So people who are nearby tree, we can say a 50-meter radius, so then it can enter your lake and you will have death. And normally in the pre-monsoon, what we see, like when there is a sudden rainfall, people try to get out of these wet, so they stands below tree. That's point one. Second point, you can see many times what we do, like in the pre-monsoon time, so it is a very hot time, and the below the tree it is very cool. There are number of activities we do below the tree. Then third, in this particular year we see that there is more mangoes are there in mango tree, so people are either plucking mango in the tree are killed, or what happened after some windy nor'wester, so a lot of mangoes fall down to the ground. People collecting these mangoes were killed. So that is why almost 60% death in the pre-monsoon are below tree. So it's better not to stand below tree, either it is raining or it is having lightning activity. So don't stand below tree or don't go close to the tree. So that is a point, is a death trap. Then third kind of death we see is called as ground current. If you see ground current, because whenever if these ground are charged, or if it strike a tree or some features where it connects to the ground, so it move laterally. So that is why we found in the tribal region almost 10% of the death happens inside the house, which is a muddy or kacha house, where the floor is almost kacha means mud one. So what will happen, anybody standing above that, because you can take example, a kacha house is there, in front of the house there is a long you can say tall tree. So the lightning strike the the tree, then the current enter his house. Whoever is standing in the ground will be killed. So that is why these ground current means the conductive surface can be metallic, can be ground, as I said. So if it is not a resistant surface, or there is potential difference, the current will flow, and if you are either walking, so there is a chance of you will be killed. So that is why it is called as a step voltage. So even if people who are moving in a bicycle, or you can say scooty, bike, so there is a chance of step voltage kind of things. So don't go into these positions. If you are going, you are taking risk. Next is called as touch voltage, or you can say whenever you touch anything there is a shock. So that is why metallic structures, or you can say metallic gate, all these things, or you can say electric poles, any poles or metallic structures, so get rid of these things during the lightning activity. Then in the monsoon, majority of the deaths are of farmers, and that happens inside the water. There are number of deaths in pre-monsoon, monsoon, because what will happen during monsoon, the clouds are formed at lower height, and easily the negative charge comes to the inside the water, and water is a good conductor. So obviously anybody who is standing inside the water will be killed. And majority of the farmer doing their work inside the water are killed. 65% death in India are farmers. So we'll have more detail how to get rid of it. Then another is called a streamer, the last one. Streamer of lightning will injure people when person becomes conduit for an upward reaching electric discharge. So there is some positive discharge. What will happen? So it is a opposite of negative charge. Sometimes you become a part of the conductive surface. Sometimes what will happen, the negative charge will be static. Then it will try to pull the positive charge from the surface of the earth. So it can pull 15 to 16 feature at a time. So human being can become a part of it. So that is called as a streamer. Then talking about lightning, means as I asked the question, so what are the ways we can save their lives? So there are four components which we will be critically discussing. What are the pros and cons? The first one, if you see what government of India or the scientific world think, that if we can give a accurate information to the targeted persons who are being killed, then we can save life. Maybe it is a forecasting 6 hours before, now casting 3 hours before. You can say macro now casting maybe half an hour or 1 hour. So then what is the problem? So let's discuss about that. So there are a number of application softwares which is developed by Government of India, and there are not Indian Meteorological Department. You can see for lightning specifically, Damini app is there, taken care by IITM Pune. Then there is Mausham, IMD, then Meghdut for farmers, Umang, Rain Alarm. So number of application software is there, or apps are there, but still death is happening. What is the reason behind it? So we have to understand the limitation of these application software which you can download in Google Play Store in an Android mobile. You can see this is a forecasting done by the IMD Bhubaneswar for Odisha. We have taken an example. You see what we have done. We have taken CG data, cloud to ground data from NRSC. This is a paper which is published in Remote Sensing Later. You can see the relation between CG and death and the forecasting. You can see there is in the first above, so there was no forecasting, a single death happened, but the forecasting is in the upper part. Then you can see there are some kind of forecasting in the second, you can see third, you can see. So what I am trying to say, there is some limitation. So while modeling the lightning activity, doing forecasting activity, so means the changes which happens within minutes, and these data are not put into the model. So that is why there is a lot of errors. And specifically try to understand in month, what is our observation in month of March, April, May. So there is less accuracy, but we have to trust that because we don't have other options. Then second, when you go to the month of you can say monsoon, so the forecasting increases because the atmosphere is lesser, more static. So what is our observation? Even if you send these information, people do not believe it at the last mile, because they find whatever forecasting is coming up, sometimes it's happening, sometimes doesn't happening. Then 80% are CC, only 15% is coming down. Again, the 15% of what suitable connector they are coming. In case of negative CG, it connect to an individual. Even if 5 people are there, it will connect to the suitable positive charge. So that is why we have to be, we have to trust this, but we have to understand the limitation. Then the next part, what I think is all about lightning hazard and vulnerability mapping. What we can go for a longer time period, mapping of lightning hazard, vulnerability risk, which villages, blocks, we can go for that. But you have to understand lightning is a very localized phenomena triggered by 200 to 300 parameters which are local, regional, global. So that is why doing a risk vulnerability map is okay, but it cannot absolutely reduce the death. But getting an idea means you should have a vulnerability map or a risk map, hazard map. It's very easy to do if you have data. Then we have if you see high resolution data, we have like 5-year or 6-year data is there. So I don't know how much it fits in developing these vulnerability maps, in understanding the pattern and all kind of things. Next is lightning protection and safety. Whenever if you see the policymakers or they talk more about, so wherever lightning is happening, let's put arresters or conductors. But still we don't know these arresters are really working or not. So be careful, be cautious, because if you see The high-end arresters are put in the airports, railway, but still it is damaged. So there are a lot of sciences are there, and this is a very high voltage current. We cannot take risk. So it's better to take advice from expert before installing any arresters or conductor. Conductor is a Franklin rod, so the cost is less, but still you have to understand, when I say conductor arrestor, there is another thing which is called a semi-Faraday cage, which is inside your Pakka house. You have to understand what is semi-Faraday cage. Whenever lightning is happening, if you are inside a semi-Faraday cage Pakka house, 99% you are safe. Semi-Faraday cage means it's a metallic cover at the foundation. So you have 8 to 9 foot iron steel which goes down. Then you have iron and steel at your pillar. Then you have iron and steel at the roof. So it acts like a semi-Faraday cage. So whenever these electrons are coming, so at the top of your building it will capture it. So it will bring it to the ground. It will not flow laterally, because when you go down the resistance is very less. So the the current will be discharged at the ground. So there will be no laterally flow. So if your house is not a semi-Faraday cage house, you can go with the same thing with a lightning conductor. But again, what you have to do whenever you are doing a lightning conductor, it should be at the highest point. It should not be at the lowest point. Again, you have to take the expert advice. So then only you go for this kind of arrested conductor. So there is another thing which can palm tree save lives, because there are lot of debates, discussion going that if we plant palm tree it can be a natural conductor. But still what science says, scientific evidence says that while palm tree can act as a natural lightning rod by interacting strikes, they do not guarantee human safety, because they reduce the direct strikes to the surrounding area but carry significant failure risks, including explosives, splintering, fire hazard, and lethal side flash for any standing to. But there is still, it will be not like a safety structure. If you stand below the palm tree, you will be also killed. The the height and conductivity are there, then strike diversion. So there are number of scientific and ecological failure points in palm tree. The step voltage and side flash risk. The primary reason palm tree fails to save lives in proximity: if the person takes shelter underneath or very close to the palm tree, the electrical current traveling down the trunk on the ground can act the person side splash and travel to the the soil, causing several fatal injuries. Explosion, as I said, explosion fire, you see in 10 palm tree, 3 to 4 are burnt. Then tree mortality, if you see, if you are trying to put a palm tree, it will take 16 years, it becomes the highest point. Then 4 trees are burnt. So you require a sustainability again. So there is a number of conception, since there is no evidence, don't stand below palm tree. Planting palm tree is not bad, but thinking that it will save your life is not good. Then finally, I will try to make you understand what is the best way to save your life. Very simple. As I said, it is a light, sound, then electric sound. Then we have to follow very simple trio formula, that is called as sthana, kala, patra. Sthana means place, kala means time, and patra means action. So what exactly we have to do? Try to understand sthana, place. We have to understand which place is a risky or a vulnerable place, which place is a very safe place. So the first point, as I said, if you are inside a semi-Faraday Pakka house, 99% you are safe. You don't go outside during the lightning activity. If you are going outside, then the risk starts increasing. So there is no guarantee when you are outside. So what we have observed from the ground, if you are standing below the tree, your risk increases. If you are inside the water or close to the tree or in the ground or a combination of all these things, then your chances or risk increases. So it's better try 99% try to be inside your home, in the pakka house. Then the risk also, like if you are in a pakka house without semi-Faraday cage, so then there may be injuries, like asbestos house, there may be injuries. If it's a kacha house, so again, so it is high risk, so it can be a conductor kind of death can happen. Then if you are inside a car which is a metallic covered bus, truck, you are safe. But if you in a open vehicle, so there is a chance of death. This is what I say whenever we talk about last mile activity. So there are lot of discourses or debates going on, because we are creating this information, but the people are not acting. So it is not like that at ground zero. So whenever we are doing last mile activity, we just put as do's and don'ts. So people don't understand do's and don'ts, how to do a farmer or laborer or a gradurer, how they will follow, because it's a part and parcel of livelihood. We can follow. So these do's and don'ts are the people who are working inside the office. So they come maybe 1 hour before, then they go after 1 hour. So these do's and don'ts are for them, not for the people, majority people who are killed. So that is why the death is not reducing. So there is another thing which I also, there is a posture usually people say you should do during the lightning activity, but it is only the last option. In 99% don't try this. Whenever there is a nothing, try this, but the response time is few seconds. I don't know how you can do, because lightning activity doesn't like one point it happens continuously. So that is why how much time and all these things you will keep, so that you have to understand. Again, I will say for decision maker or policy makers, so you can identify these features, you can mark a symbol, this is the death trap for lightning activity. And as I said, I have shown a in the slide, so you can mark inside your village which is a safe, which is a unsafe area, and then accordingly you have to aware the people. You have to understand what is the pattern of death in your area, who are the people, at what month they are killed. The death in pre-monsoon, monsoon, post-monsoons are quite different. As I said, whenever you are not outside, your death is less. When many people are exposed, the death will more. So that is why you have to understand and make the people like farmers, make the people like laborers, grazers. You have to make a separate campaign for them, and you have to develop a calendar for them, which is the safe place, then safe time where they can work, so that they should not expose themselves to this high intensity lightning activity. The second point, as I discussed, is all about time or kala. So whatever we have seen, you can take the flash data or the CG data. You can see in central India, almost we have seen the lightning activity happens like 80 to 85% happens, that is 12 PM to 12 AM. That is from 12 in the mid of the day to the midnight. But the peaks are different for different places. As I said, the peak in Orissa is 2 to 7, and if you go to the other states, so it can be 3, like Madhya Pradesh, it's 3 to 8. So the peak varies, and you have to understand the peak time and the activities in the open spaces. So the more activity in the open spaces in the peak time, so the more death happens. So that is why we have to make the people aware that 2 to 7, as I said, in Odisha, or you can say 3 to 8 in case of Madhya Pradesh, this is the most unsafe time to work from, you can say, during the monsoon or pre-monsoon, that is from March, April, May, June, July, August, September. So you have to understand this is the time most of the death happens. So that is why the people should understand, and you can make this lightning strike timing at the block level. It's possible you take the data and you can just try to understand what is the time of death. Then third thing, what I said, that is called as action. Action is not, you say, same for all the activities or the different section of the people. As I said, there are farmers, then there are grazers, there are laborers, there are construction workers, they work for their livelihood. So we cannot restrict them that this time you should not do that. But what we can do, we can develop a calendar for them. Let's say farmer. I am giving an example of farmer. We have done a very in-depth analysis for Baleshwar. You can see here that every day we have mapped for the last 5 years, and what we have seen that only in month of October and few days in month of June, July, these are the safest day where they can go in work in the second half. But all other day you saw this is a unsafe day. The risk is quite high. So that is why we have to come up with some policy, and we have to understand what kind of activities are doing, and then the death is happening, because the climate change has changed the onset of monsoon. Again, we have to understand the monsoon's pattern, because previously there were active rainfall. Okay, there were very less breaks, but right now the wet period has decreased and the dry period has increased and monsoon breaks has increased. And you have to understand what really the farmer does. From the, if you see the crop calendar, it goes for nursery preparation, seed sowing, irrigation, so weeding, then till harvesting. And we have also see what is the risk percentage for each activity. And if you see the portion or the work they do inside the water, so there are more deaths. So this is the very sensitive time period. Either you have to make the the farmer, you should avoid these days, and 5:30 to 12 is the safest time for a farmer to work. We have to make them understand, if you are going after 12, you are taking risk. So up to what level you can take risk, it's up to you or the policymaker or decision maker. But still I can think that if you can go with these way, you don't require money, just very small behavioral changes of the farmer, many lives can be saved. What we have seen from our research, you can see during these periods, so only 3 to 5% in the second half is safest time. Whenever we are talking about the causes part, where there is a chance of accurate forecasting, but till now whatever technology is available, we cannot do that exactly. We cannot do point forecasting. So it's up to these all agency to take the risk or not. But for the farmer, I will say they should work in the safest time, 5:30 to 12. Don't expose yourself, so you are not to these kind of death. Again, the agriculture ministry or the agriculture officers, they can do a campaign. So what is, they can develop a calendar for by merging lightning flash calendar, death calendar, then these crop calendar. They can at block level they can create a calendar of safe and unsafe times, and they have to aware the farmers that what exactly you have to do without forecasting, even if you can understand. Because whenever you see these more moisture or uncomfortable conditions in the morning in the monsoon, there is a chance of lightning activity. Then there is a dark cloud, strong winds, you can see there are lightning flashes. The majority of time you see the fast flashes are of CC. After few minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, you will have CG. You have again there is a 30-30 rule. You see, whenever you see you are standing below a pakka house, lightning is going on. So when to move? So if you see the sky, no, the last lightning activity, after 30 minutes, if there is no lightning activity, the process is stopped. Then again, if the flash and the sound, if it is less than 30 seconds, you should understand the lightning is very close to each other and you are very in a vulnerable place, move away. So there are number of things you have to understand, and the agriculture officer has to make a campaign at the last mile and make this farmer understand. Believe me, you can see 70 to 80% death will be reduced easily. Lastly, what I will say, this video we are making for the decision maker, policy maker, even if farmers, so that all people, what is our objective is how to reduce lightning deaths, means all over India. Thank you very much.